Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. My name is Muhammad Izam bin Nordin from Group 20. Today we're going to do the permeability test at the site. So I hope that you all can learn something from this experiment. Thank you.
Firstly, open the water supply valve that connect it to the water reservoir. Secondly, allow water to flow through the sample until the conditions appear to be steady. And the water levels in the manometer tubes remain stationary. Adjust valve on the supply line to the constant head device so that there is a continuous small overflow and record the levels of the water in the manometer tubes, H1 and H2. The water is discharged from the outlet. Start the stopwatch to record the time taken to collect the water discharge at the instant. The measuring cylinder is placed under the outlet overflow. Repeat test procedure for another 4 series.
So after setting up all the apparatus, I allow the water flow through the apparatus for some time. There are two objectives. First objective is to achieve saturated fully condition for the soil, and the second objective is to achieve steady flow at outlet. So when we achieve steady flow at outlet, the quantity of liquid flow through the section of the soil sample is constant. So this liquid will be collected as discharge volume, and the time to collect the discharge volume will also be recorded. So at the same time, the water level at the two pipe is also constant. So the head difference between two pipe will be calculated and recorded. So when we get the data of discharge volume, collection time for the discharge volume, and the head difference, we will get the average permeability. And the result of the permeability is 0.578. Okay.
Okay, Darren. May I ask regarding how do you maintain the steady flow? How do you know that the flow is already steady?
Okay, so we can know that the flow is steady when the discharge water at the outlet is not in turbulent condition, some kind of smooth passing out the water.
Maybe the head, the water head is almost the same, right, at the manometer.
Yes.
That's why you can determine that the flow is steady, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. From the result that have been obtained by our friend Darren, so we got the value for the hydraulic conductivity, which is about 0.578 centimeter per second. And by referring to the reference book, the author is Rajat M. Das, and I found out that the soil type for our sample is and which is in a medium permeable. And what I can say that based on the hydraulic conductivity, the soil is a little bit porous, and we can say that the diffusion rate is quite high. And for your information, the permeability is greatly affected by few factors, which are fluid viscosity, pore size distribution, grain size distribution, void ratio, and also degree of soil saturation. So for our experiment, if we are going to talk about the fluid viscosity, I think it won't be a problem because we are using water, and water has less viscosity. And for the degree of soil saturation, I think it also have no problem because we are using saturated soil. So for saturated soil, it is has better permeability compared to the dry soil. And for the pore size distribution, grain size distribution, and also for the void ratio, it is greatly affected our experiment because the greater the pore size distribution means that our grain size is quite coarser, and therefore our void ratio is also quite high, and this will increase our permeability. And this is the little bit short discussion about our experiment, and more detail will be specified in our report later. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Is there any question?
Okay, Farina, I want to ask about the precaution. Can you explain how can we improve our result based on my previous experiment?
Okay, Sheila, in order to improve the experimental value, there are some precautions that must take into consideration. Firstly, make sure the observant eyes are perpendicular to the measurement scale while reading the water level in the manometer to avoid the parallax error. Secondly, make sure there are no air bubbles in the manometer because it may affect the reading of the water level in the manometer. So, in order to remove the air bubbles, tap at the manometer so that the bubbles will move to the surface of the water meniscus. Thirdly, it is important to ensure that the steady of water flow is achieved so that more accurate values can be obtained for hydraulic conductivity, as the steady flow is one of the main indicators to ensure that the soil is fully saturated. Lastly, the person who is assigned to record the time taken by using the stopwatch should also be more alert, as the time taken for collecting the water in pre-assigned value should be recorded immediately to avoid delay errors. Okay, that's all.
So, in conclusion, based from the result, the average permeability coefficient is about 0.587 centimeter per second. And the certain precaution that has been told by Farina must have been taken to ensure that no mistake can impact the results. So finally, the objective of this test has been successfully achieved. Thank you.